The Falcon Heavy rocket boasts 27 engines and 3 separate reusable cores that will return to Earth. SpaceX scheduled a static fire test on Monday, a crucial step before the Falcon Heavy is ready for liftoff. The government shutdown is delaying SpaceX's Falcon Heavy launch as well as NASA operations. It looks like SpaceX's giant Falcon Heavy rocket won't be ready to shoot for the stars just yet. Elon Musk's rocket company was expected to complete a test fire of the Heavy's 27 engines today after several delays, but the ongoing government shutdown has postponed any launches until further notice. In a static fire test, all of the Heavy's 27 Merlin engines are fired up to make sure they can ignite properly. If all goes according to plan, the Falcon Heavy will be one step closer to liftoff. The Senate will vote today in a move that many hope will reopen the government. But with Congress currently unable to fund the day-to-day operations of the federal government, that means SpaceX can't complete the Heavy test. SpaceX relies on personnel from NASA's Kennedy Space Center and the U.S. Air Force's 45th Space Wing to oversee operations. Until the government shutdown ends, commercial space companies like SpaceX are likely to be delayed for the time being. DailyMail.com has reached out to the firm for comment. We remain hopeful that the Congress will quickly resolve their differences and put our partners in the Air Force and NASA back to doing their important work as soon as possible, said SpaceX spokesperson John Taylor in a statement to Engadget. This shutdown impacts SpaceX's Falcon Heavy demonstration, which is critical for future NSS missions, Taylor continued. It also impacts critical missions for our customers, including important international allies scheduled to launch shortly from Cape Canaveral and Vandenberg Air Force Base, as well as upcoming missions this spring to resupply the International Space Station. SpaceX has won 2 National Security Space Contracts, or NSS missions, so far. The shutdown has also impacted NASA operations, as the federal agency has been forced to send some workers home without pay. The official NASA Twitter and other accounts run by U.S. agencies have tweeted that they're on hiatus during the government shutdown. It's not the first time that a Heavy launch has been delayed. Musk had hoped to launch the world's most powerful rocket by the end of 2017, but now the company is aiming for liftoff sometime in 2018. This week's government shutdown could possibly push back the Heavy launch even further. The rocket will use 27 engines and 3 separate reusable cores that will return to Earth after liftoff during the test flight, which is set to be one of the firm's most technically complex challenges to date. Before the maiden launch, a full test firing of the rocket's engines is expected next week, Musk said. Falcon Heavy now vertical on the former Apollo 11 moon rocket launch pad, he wrote on Instagram on Thursday. At 2,500 tons of thrust, equal to 18 Boeing 747 aircraft at full throttle, it will be the most powerful rocket in the world by a factor of 2. Excitement on launch day guaranteed, one way or another. Hold down test fire next week. Launch end of the month. When it lifts off for the first time in late January, the Falcon Heavy will become the most powerful rocket in the world thanks to its 5.1 million pounds of thrust generated through 27 Merlin engines. The vast rocket, which is ultimately 3 Falcon 9 rockets linked together, will have the combined thrust to eventually launch 140,000 pounds, 63,500 kilograms, of cargo into orbit. The mission marks SpaceX's most ambitious project to date. Musk founded SpaceX in 2002. With the aim of reducing space transportation costs and enabling the colonization of Mars. The 46-year-old South African is also the CEO of Tesla and predicts Falcon Heavy's payload will stay in deep space for a while. A photo of the unusual cargo, Musk's cherry red 2008 Tesla Roadster, was released last month. Images released by SpaceX show an original Roadster perched on a large cone inside the Falcon Heavy on what appears to be a secure mount to keep it stationary as the rocket makes its maiden flight. Test flights of new rockets usually contain mass simulators in the form of concrete or steel blocks. That seemed extremely boring, Musk said in December. Of course, anything boring is terrible, especially companies, so we decided to send something unusual, something that made us feel. The payload will be an original Tesla Roadster, playing Space Oddity, on a billion-year elliptic Mars orbit. The main module will continue its trajectory into deep space, the billionaire said, with a destination set for the orbit of Mars 140 million miles, 225 million kilometers, away. Musk has said the payload will be in deep space for a billion years or so, if it doesn't blow up on ascent. In a Washington, D.C. speech last July, the Tesla founder which said Falcon Heavy is one of the most difficult and technically complex projects SpaceX has ever undertaken. There's a lot of risk associated with Falcon Heavy, he said during the 2017 International Space Station Research and Development Conference. Real good chance that the vehicle doesn't make it to orbit. I want to make sure to set expectations accordingly. Musk has spent the preceding months building up hype for the historic launch with a series of social media posts. Last month he posted an image to Twitter of people stoofed next to a landed Falcon Heavy rocket to give an idea of the vehicle's scale. He tweeted, "Falcon Heavy launching from same at NASA pad as the Saturn V Apollo 11 moon rocket."